Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV, your go-to platform for everything politics, policy, and governance. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us tonight. Tonight on the program, we spotlight the recently unveiled opposition coalition anchored on the platform of the African Democratic Congress. The alliance has generated intense national discourse, particularly over its ambition to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 elections. With key political figures backing the coalition, can it muster the momentum and structure that gave rise to the APC back in 2013-2014? Can it also galvanize widespread support to pose a serious challenge for the ruling APC? Well, to help us navigate some of these and many more elements of the conversation, we're joined by a political historian. Professor Alkasum Abba is on Daily Politics tonight. Prof, thanks so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Right, a lot has happened recently that has got a lot of people talking about what may happen in 2027. I mean, 2027 has obviously taken over national discourse lately. What are some of your takeaways from this most recent development about the adoption of ADC as the platform to spearhead the coalition going into 2027?
Well, I think what is important to note in this whole process is the fact that the coalition, people were not expecting coalition to emerge this way. In 2015, a merger of political parties which formed the APC emerged and to fight the election against the PDP candidate. But this one now, all expectation was that some parties will merge or a new party will be registered. This time what happened was that an existing party has been adopted. But not only that, also they had a political spare tire. ADA was also filing its papers for registration. So that if for any reason the ADC thing didn't work, because one option for government is to foment trouble, make some of the members of ADC to even go to court to say they don't accept this what happened, because somebody has already said that this is not a product of a convention, because it is only a convention that can elect leaders and so on and so forth. So this one has good potential danger, and because of that, there is also a spare tire.
And is this unusual in Nigerian politics, where the opposition, in trying to divert attentions or not be very obvious about its future plans, is coming up with multiple options that it can adopt going into a general election?
No, I think that the politicians have learned from history. If you remember, in the Second Republic, the opposition parties tried to form a political party called PPP, Progressive People's Party, and they were denied registration by INEC and FEDECO in those days. And that in those days there was limit. The parties were 5. That then they went ahead to register NAP for Tunji Braithwaite in order to create problem for UPN in the western states. And because of this, now the current people, some of whom were politicians in those days, or at least have been politically active, have realized that you cannot rely on only one source of struggle. So you have ADC. If there is problem, you have a political spare tire called ADA they can turn to.
There's also the unusualness of the coalition movement itself. You have people like Atiku Abubakar, people like Peter Obi, for instance, who have not necessarily left their legacy parties, the PDP and the Labour Party, but are front and center of the coalition. And it seems that, the new leadership of the ADC is okay with people being part of other political parties but still showing their support to them.
No, I don't think this is a problem, because membership of a political party is voluntary. the political party cannot force you to remain a member. Look at Wike. Wike is said to be a member of PDP, but he is more of APC than PDP, and the PDP cannot do anything to him. And so I don't think their former parties can impose any sanctions on them, because they are literally out of these parties. I've seen somebody have written to say they have given Peter Obi this time to resign from the Labour Party. He has actually effectively resigned from the Labour Party, because if you are not resigned from the Labour Party, he cannot come openly and associate with another party.
So you would agree that it is best case scenario unethical that you're part of two different political parties in a struggle for power?
No, they are not members of two political parties. They are members of ADC. They have left that party. It's just that they have not announced they have left the party.
Yeah, but on record, as far as we know, they are still members of their various political parties.
It is not an offense in the country to belong to more than one party. But you cannot contest election on the platform of two parties. You only contest election on the platform of one party. So I don't think that their former parties have any hold on them. Because they are also, remember, they are also very important political figures. So the PDP cannot do anything to Atiku Abubakar. No Labour can do anything to Peter Obi. They are not. They are political entities in their own rights.
Talk to me about Nigerians. The more they see, the less they understand the entire situation. It's looking like a fiasco at best. Give me a sense of whether it's too early for Nigerians to read meanings into some of these political shifts, alignments that we're seeing right now ahead of 2027.
Well, I don't know, but you see, one thing you have to know is that this country is in great difficulties, economic difficulties of the type that has never been experienced. And this is why, you see, nobody cares about this thing you call ethical. One foot there, one foot there. That's not what is important to them. When election time comes, you have to put your feet, the 2 feet, on one platform and contest. And I think this is what is important.
You think there's a moral justification for the way the coalition is going about?
What do you mean by moral justification?
Well, I mean, to call a spade and say, listen, we are with this coalition come what may.
Yes.
Without any pretense of being a part of something else.
No, it's just they are learning from Wike. He left PDP, he refused to leave the PDP. He's still there causing confusion in PDP. And so you never know why they are doing this. They too.
Right. So talk to me about the substance of the coalition, because a lot has been said about how the coalition is telling Nigerians what not to vote for. But they're also falling short of telling Nigerians what they actually stand for in terms of their manifesto, in terms of their philosophy, in terms of their economic policies. A lot of people are saying, you know, it's just window dressing. Old wine in a new bottle. At least that's the prevailing commentary if you check the comment sections online. What do you make of some of those arguments?
You see, this is not yet the time for them to come up with their political program. You come with an economic program during elections. It is not before elections. But if you read the statement delivered by the interim president of the national chairman, David Mark, you will see they are very clear that their goal is to unseat the APC government. And this is good because they felt that the APC government has not done well in the past 2 years, and it is not likely to do any better in the next 2 years. So they are announcing their existence, announcing their objective of joining this ADC, and to tell the people that we want to unseat this government because the government has not been fair to the people of Nigeria. And so you cannot expect them to bring their economic program now. You do this when election is in the corner.
So you don't think that trying to get the buy-in of Nigerians right now who are understandably asking tough questions about them. They say, listen, we know all the people in the coalition. We know their track record. We know their antecedents. What are you going to do differently from the Bola Tinubu administration if you get a chance in 2027? Because Nigerians need to make up their minds about which, tent they're going to stick with.
Well, I think you need to understand one thing. Which Nigerians are asking these questions? It is just some journalists and political commentators. Go and ask the local people what is going on. You'll be surprised that they are so much dissatisfied with the performance of this government, especially at the level of economy, especially in relation to cost of transport and food in particular. Most of the rural people don't have electricity, so those of us in the urban areas are the ones also crying. In addition to transport, food, then we say electricity also. So go and ask them. You will hear that all this new wine in old bottle, all this and so on and so forth. These are not the issues facing the people. The people know what they are facing since the last 2 years.
Right. And a lot of people are quick to jump to conclusions that because of the caliber of the people behind the coalition movement itself, that the ADC now is either at par or has overtaken the PDP as the main opposition. What are your thoughts about that? Where's the ADC in terms of ranking, in terms of political relevance in Nigeria today?
It is very clear that the ADC has got a greater number of senior politicians in it than PDP. And definitely, I think that maybe they may have to do coalition and bring PDP to as members of the coalition in the future. And
is that likely, you think?
It's likely because some members of PDP are saying they want to be part of the coalition. And so most likely they will have to negotiate with other parties and come together, not melting into one party, into ADC, but making agreement.
Concessions.
Concessions to with ADC, so that they will be part of the opposition political force in the country.
And let's talk about what could go wrong, because already people are picking holes regarding the lineup of people. It looks like there are a lot of people with unchecked ambitions on the platform of the ADC, or at least as part of the coalition, and squaring that cycle might prove to be very difficult. How do you see this playing out with all these individuals who have personal ambitions of their own?
These things will have to resolve themselves when you have a convention and you have to select a presidential candidate. So there is nothing wrong with so many people expressing desires to be president, but the ultimate thing will be decided at the convention. So I don't think that that people have to concede. I have to concede to you, or you have to concede to anybody. Let's go to the battleground. It's just like election. So you don't say that because there are many parties, the election is a problem. It's not.
But do you think also the fallout of that convention, not preempting what could happen, that because of the personal ambition that some may not likely want to work for others if they are not the ones on the ticket?
Well, if that is the case, they wouldn't be in ADC because nobody has forced anybody to join ADC.
Now, knowing what you know about Nigerian politicians, especially this crop of people who have at one point in time said terrible things about each other in the past and are now working together, what are the chances that this could stick for the longest time?
This is the thing about politics. I remember, I think it is the British politicians, one abused the other so much, but when they were doing alliance, he said, "You told me this." He said, "Yes, I'm sorry, I said it so." They will forget it. Don't worry. These politicians, they are smarter than you think. Because somebody has got an ambition, he wants to become president. He is not crazy. He knows that he does not have sufficient clout to win support to get a ticket. And even if you get a ticket, you need to have some sufficient clout to win the presidency.
You look at the PDP right now, Prof, and you realize that they have somewhat stopped the hemorrhaging. They've stopped the bleeding in the PDP for now. They appear to be working on the same page. And the APC now has some wiggle room to even reconfigure the party's leadership, with the North Central for the past 2 years asking or demanding that the chairmanship returns to the North Central. So it looks like the APC has another opportunity to stabilize things in terms of its political leadership. Talk to me about what is happening on the other side of the conversation, and how that stability in PDP could also threaten the ADC's chances. I mean, if PDP gets its act together, don't you think that that could take the steam away from the ADC?
The issue, I think, is that it is only like minds are remaining in the PDP. The others have left. And because they have left, the PDP can be, you can look at it as harmonious. But it has shrunk politically and has very little relevance in terms of...
I mean, they still have the second highest number of political office holders in the country.
This is the past election. We have not done election now.
Yeah, but the ADC presumably just has one lawmaker, right?
Yes, yes. This is past election. Wait for next election before you pass judgment. You cannot determine the political strength and value of the PDP on the basis of the election which was conducted before this kind of crisis emerges. PDP had never had this kind of crisis.
You're saying the PDP is no longer a leading political force in this country?
No, it is not.
Why is that?
Because it does not have the relevant people in it who will talk and people will listen. Most of them have left. Some have gone to APC, and some have gone to ADC. So don't think
you think there's nothing left?
No, I haven't said there is nothing left, but what is left is not too relevant, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but this is what I think it is. What is left is not too relevant in Nigerian politics.
All right, let's talk about the messaging.
And also this whole idea that APC is revitalizing itself, that they will bring a new chairman from North Central and so on and so forth. This has nothing to do with ordinary people. This is just elite fight within the APC.
Yes, but Prof, a lot of people can make the same argument
about
with the
what?
ADC.
About
I mean, you're talking about some of these political heavyweights who have moved into the ADC, right? If that matters, the APC might as well say, well, we're the biggest recipients of defectors. I mean, just a couple of days ago, they received 7 lawmakers in the House of Representatives from Akwa Ibom who defected to the party. They've recorded the largest number of defections in such a very short period of time in the history of the party. In fact, APC had never had so many governors on its platform like they currently have right now. So their stock is higher than any other political party right now.
Yes, because they are the ruling party. You don't know what is making people to go there.
Some will say they're the winning party.
They are not going for nothing. You don't know what is making people to go. Some think that they are just going there for protection.
And you don't think it will count on election day?
Well, you know, one lawmaker in Katsina State defected to APC. He went home, they were stoning him. So I think you need to separate the actions and behaviors of people in the National Assembly or governors from the people, from the electorate. Because one thing you have to always put into account, that the economic policies of this government has created a lot of difficulties for most people in this country. And so if you move towards them, you are also moving away from the people. This is the reality.
And I think that it's clear as day right now that the people are not with the APC. We're having a conversation I think just 2 days ago, with the former governor of Nasarawa State, Tankwal Makurang. He said, listen, no governor moves without the support of his people. They do their due diligence before they defect. And they must have done the maths, and the maths made sense. And that's why these defections are happening.
Well, this is under normal condition, not under the current Nigerian situation. Under normal condition. Because if you defect from another party to APC, you have also defected from the people. This is the reality. Most of them, legislators, they can't go home. They kick them out, they abuse them. Or you don't know?
I mean, it depends on who you ask. but let's turn the spotlight on the ADC. Like the question I asked earlier, right? There are some Nigerians who are not necessarily impressed yet because they know the antecedents of the people, you know, making all the noise about the coalition. That if the coalition has to make any sort of headway with Nigerians, winning their hearts and minds, and more importantly, their votes in 2027, that they're going to have to see fresh, new blood injected into the coalition movement itself. It cannot be the same people that have been advertised or that have governed before that will repackage themselves and present themselves to the Nigerian people in 2027. What do you think is that, telling the ADC right now?
Well, I think you are speaking more like the spokesman of the ruling party.
No, I'm actually re-echoing.
Or you are transmitting their own perspective about the coalition.
I'm actually talking about Nigerians.
Negative.
I'm actually thinking about Nigerians who say, listen.
How many Nigerians did you interview?
So the point is this: on our platforms, on our platforms, yes. Right? Whenever we put up these conversations, people use the comment section to express their opinions about this. We've had interactive sessions, and people say, listen, we want to see new faces, new energy, something that we've not seen, before. Because some of these, people who are championing these causes are people who have known before, who have disappointed us before. So why should we believe what they're saying now? That's the point I was driving at.
Let me tell you, in Nigerian politics, it's not easy for new faces to emerge and become relevant immediately. They do gradually. And it's a process of recruitment and training. And for now, what about the ruling party? Are they new people there? They are all the old politicians. The same thing with the coalition. So it is not sufficient enough to criticize them by telling them they are full of old politicians. Because the old politicians are the politicians of Nigeria for now. We have not been able to create new politicians. And so I don't see how having old politicians on its platform become a disadvantage to them. No. The APC and ADC are just full of old politicians. If people are disappointed... Two sides of the same
coin. You would say they are two sides of the same coin.
Yes. If you are disappointed with those in ADC because they are not longer in power. And now, are you happy with these ones who are in power?
So, what about the arrangement itself? You have the APC folks who have just left government during the Buhari administration, some of his former ministers, the likes of Rotimi Amechi, his Attorney General and Minister of Justice. A couple of them are over there. You have the disgruntled people within the PDP who have, dumped the party to join the ADC, Senator David Mark, and a host of others, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, who are fueling the conversation. And you also have people who recently left the APC, like Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, former governor, and the likes of P2B. Do you think ideologically it's going to be a Herculean task for them to be on the same page? Because people are struggling to understand how they can see things the same way because of their different political leanings and experiences.
Well, I want to say that we are not practicing ideological politics in Nigeria. No. And because of that, I don't see how you can say somebody from PDP, somebody from APC will think differently because they have joined ADC. There's nothing like that. Erufai was in PDP. He left and went to APC. He left and went to SDP before coming to join ADC. So
they're all branches of the same tree. Yes. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. Are we going to end up with a 3-horse race in 2027, or do you think there's still room for more political movements to emerge? Right now, as it stands, people are only talking about 3 options: APC, PDP, and ADC.
Well, I think this depends very much on the capacity of ADC to mobilize the opposition parties on its own part, because we could have only 2 presidential candidates, APC and ADC. If the ADC people are able to swing into action and mobilize the other political parties and make an alliance and come up with support based on certain agreements they will have to reach. And I think let's leave options open, things that we have not seen before. It's possible for us to see them now. And in politics, everything is possible. And somebody's told me, in politics, there's no permanent enemy. There's only permanent interests.
Right. And Prof, just before we go, tell us, knowing what you know about our political history, right? What does history tell us about what is happening here? Because they always say history has a way of repeating itself, right? What does our political history tell us about what's happening right now, and what should we actually make of it? Because Nigerians think there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise and not much of substance by way of governance, by way of deliverables, and all of these things. But what is the connection of what is happening right now? Or is there any connection between what's happening right now to our political history?
Well, I think the nearest resemblance is the Second Republic, when the UPN, PRP, NPP, GNPP tried to come up with one candidate after they have failed to get their PPP registered. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And so it is a scenario which is new, what is happening now, and different from what has happened before. And one cannot be sure of the direction it will go. This is not history repeating itself. This is history taking shape.
So there are no parallels between this one, or you can't draw comparisons between what's happening right now to what happened in 2013 with the APC. It's totally different.
No, you cannot, because, you know, in 2013, parties came together to establish APC. Now, this is politicians came together to assemble in one party. So they are not the same.
Okay. We'll leave you here for now. As developments continue to unfold, we'll hopefully circle back and pick your brains on this one. Thank you so much, Prof. Appreciate you very much for the analysis. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Right. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a lot more to double down, because we get to speak to the new spokesman of the ADC, who will tell us a lot more about what they're trying to come up with in sending this message of renewal, revival, and rescue for the Nigerian mission in 2027. More on this one after the break.